you rest your head. I used to know my older sister, but I think when someone leaves, you just got memories. And you know how somebody old always says to take it all slow. Well, too bad that we kids never learn. Someone once said, you rest your head. And that's why today I'm stopping to walk out in the rain. The yellow grass like light across the plain. And I'm just kind of thinking of when we'd walk here all around, way back when you still lived in the South. I hear the birds until the morning. Sometimes there are things that keep me from sleeping, like when you're away in the night. Then I hear a car pulling up. I get up and notice it's you. Go back to bed. I rest my head. I rest my head. After the storms have gone, the sky hangs vast and sunless. Wreckage of one more year in clouds of light surrounds us. The thing that's so wrong now was there before. I saw clearly at the time, but stayed the course. Over 1,000,000 years, it took its light to reach us. Glimpses of other lives, long dead, they now deceive us. It's fear and discontent that drives this force. I saw clearly at the time, but stayed the course. Fear and discontent that drives this force. I saw clearly at the time, but stay the course. I know we've come so far, I'll turn back here. Not much holds me back now, not even fear. Guess we should hit the road now, 'cause the years have gone. All those day-to-day tasks will pick up later on. So much to do, and we've got all the time we need. Probably be running the world somewhere.
All right, everybody.
Around 19.
Flip off or turn off, I guess I should say, the music here. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Tuesday. Time for some Real Crusades history live. The live show here. Everything sounding okay for you guys? I always ask if the sound quality is good, and you guys can let me know if that's sounding good. Man, I really love doing these streams. This is a lot of fun. We got the Templars going on here, and we got the Hospitallers going on right here. So you guys can't tell that I like the Crusades, can you? But I do. I do in fact like the Crusades. Got some good black coffee right here, so that's good. How's everybody doing? Well, I'm busy at work on a new video about the Fourth Crusade, which I've kind of told you guys about. It's called "Did the Fourth Crusade Destroy the Byzantine Empire?" So we're gonna look at that and kind of see what was going on in Byzantium leading up to the Fourth Crusade. But yeah, things have been going well on the channel. I've been really happy with how things have been going over there. If you guys have been checking out the main channel. So welcome to the live stream. This is the Real Crusades History live streaming channel. If this is your first time, do please hit the subscribe button. Trying to build this up a little bit. And we do this show every Tuesday and Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time or 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time if you're all the way over on the West Coast. But yeah, glad to have everybody here. Looks like we got a good group here. A lot of familiar faces. We got Tom, we got Lambert, we got Sheila, we got our good buddy Yakov, who is talking to us from Ibelin, so from the heart of Crusader territory. If anybody wants to send a paid question, that is doable below in the description. You've got powerchat.live. That's very easy. It's through PayPal, and I will be watching the feed of that very carefully during the stream, just in case somebody does want to do a little contribution. And then we'll jump into the main questions now. Also, I'm going to go ahead and share the... I wanted to tell you guys, too, that the actor who played Richard the Lionheart in our pilot, he is interested in joining us on a stream one of these days. His name is Johnny Wilson. So we will probably get him on pretty soon. Let me see if I can find his website here. Let's see here. I might have to look later. I'm not going to do my prep right now for this, but yeah, Johnny Wilson. So he wants to come on and talk about playing King Richard, and I think that would be really great. And let's see. Let's get into some questions here. Let's go ahead and share the website for Knights of the Cross, knightsofthecross.com. That's the place to go to check out what we're doing with this TV show I'm really excited about. And as you guys can see, we've been getting some contributions. Thank you guys for that. It was because of your support that we were able to make this pilot episode, which everybody's going to get to see in November. And once that comes out, and this is John Wilson right here. He's our King Richard. Here's a shot of him. This is him receiving communion when he's taking the cross. And this is me interviewing one of the actors. So that's something down here too. There's a lot of stuff on this page you guys can check out. knightsofthecross.com. Check that out, please. Okay, cool. Well, let's get into some questions here. All right. Oh, just real quick, I want to show you guys what I found here. This is a really good book, Muslim Spain and Portugal by Hugh Kennedy. This is a classic for anybody who loves medieval Spain. Really good, straight up political history. Love that one. And Yakov says this series is going to be the breasts. Probably aren't going to have any breasts in the TV show, unfortunately, Yakov, because we're trying to be wholesome. But it is going to be the best. I will tell you that. It's not going to be Game of Thrones in that there's not going to be any boobs on screen, but it will be. So if anybody was dependent on that to be on board, I'm afraid I do have to disappoint you, because we do want this to be to promote virtue and promote something a little bit of a higher ideal. And I think we just got no. Okay, I thought we had a power chat, but no. Okay. All right, let's get into some questions here. Let's see. Lambert is in chat. What else do we have going on? Okay. All right. Anything you guys want to ask today about medieval history, about the Crusades, let's do it. Let's get into some questions. And Alexander says, I have heard that Fernando III forced the Muslim population to leave the cities he conquered sometime. Why? If that do make sense, he could not get taxes from them. Okay, so as far as I know, there's only one city where he did this, and that is Sevilla. And the reason for that, well, just to back up, if we look at like Ubeda and Cordoba, he allowed the Muslims to stay in those if they so chose. They could leave with anything that they could carry, so they were able to move movable property or depart with that. The reason he kicked them all out of Sevilla, and this is actually interesting because when they were trying to negotiate the surrender of Sevilla, at first they tried to push for getting to stay if they wanted to, and he was very adamant. He was saying to them, no, absolutely not. Nobody is going to be allowed to stay according to the terms of surrender. And if we think about it, if you look at where the location is of Sevilla on, in Spain, it basically opens up to the Atlantic. It has access to the Atlantic. It's at the head of the Guadalquivir River. It's one of the biggest cities. In fact, at the time, it was the biggest city in Western Europe, I believe. It was a very big city, a very wealthy city, and its location was very strategic in that it would be accessible from the sea. In fact, Fernando had to defeat a naval force of Muslims who were trying to stop the siege. He had to have a navy to blockade the city fully. And so we can see that Sevilla would have been an easy point to introduce a Muslim reconquest of Sevilla. And so he wanted to prevent that from happening. So he really wanted complete control over that region, over that city. He just would not, he felt that he could not compromise at all on that. He had to have complete control of the city, and he resettled a lot of Christians there, and that went for the entire area. I mean, this was kind of his frontier, and it was going to be his frontier frontier for some time. So that explains that. Zenex says, if there's any scene where a character eats chicken breast, someone should get this clip to show how Stephen broke his promise. Yeah, I guess that's true. If any chicken breasts make it on screen, I mean, yeah, but yeah, there's not going to be nudity in Knights of the Cross. It's just something that we're not going to do. We feel that we do want to appeal to kind of. My goal is that this is going to be a show that, it's probably not going to be a good show for small kids because, it's going to be kind of some adult themes and violence and some of that's about warfare. But for like your teenagers, if you want to watch that with them and kind of, give them a sense of the heroism of the period. And we want it to be inspirational in that way. And we want it to, we don't want to distract it with that kind of thing. Chris, this is a good one. Have you seen the BBC Warriors episode with Richard the Lionheart? I have, and I think it's pretty good. I really like it. They weren't really able to portray the Battle of Arsuf or the Battle of Jaffa, how things actually happened. They showed an awful lot of infantry at Arsuf. In fact, I think they showed like the knights like getting off their horses and fighting like that. But it is a really good. Just I don't know. It's just pretty good. I do like that episode, and I think they did a pretty good job of just kind of getting at the spirit of King Richard and Saladin. Tom Griffin, this is an interesting question. You always come up with really good questions, Tom. Did veteran Crusaders wear any particular clothing or adornments that signified to others they had completed a crusade? I've never heard of that. Although I do know that a lot of people who came back from the crusade and were kind of local heroes or even, larger heroes than that, all the way up to somebody like Bohemund, who was almost like an international hero. They would kind of be known by that, like such and such the Crusader or such and such of Jerusalem. Like Robert of Flanders was known as Robert of Jerusalem from then on. So, Chris is saying that tomorrow is the anniversary of the Battle of Arsuf. Yeah, that's pretty great. We'll have to repost some of the Arsuf stuff and post the video about Arsuf. Battle of Arsuf is another amazing moment in King Richard's career. A battle he should not have been able to win, and yet he won it quite spectacularly. And Sheila says, thank you for that. No nudity. You are welcome, Sheila. And Colette Whitney. I have a quick query with your opinion on Vladimir the Impaler and his campaign against the Ottomans, because I just started reading on Vladimir. All right. What was your question? I have to admit, I'm not as up on Vlad the Impaler. I've read about him a few times, and I've made a few videos about him a long, long time ago, early on when the channel was first around. But I don't know a ton about him. Yakov, there's a McDonald's right where Battle of Arsuf took place. Wow, that's terrible. That's really terrible. Is that because tons of Americans like to go there and check out the Battle of Arsuf site, and so they wanted to give them a quick way to get lunch? Probably not. Lambert, is there a story to tell about the defense of Antioch before finding the Holy Lance? A good explanation of the time between when the city is taken and the excavation of St. Peter's evades me. Let's see. Well, I'm not quite sure. Are you saying like why? It was very quick after Kerbogha's army arrived, or just before Kerbogha's army arrived, that they found the Holy Lance. It's kind of interesting. The Crusaders took Antioch, got inside of it, and because they had not taken the city by breaking through the walls, it was still defensible. And so they proceeded to try to defend it as best they could, which, it was still well defended, but they didn't have a lot of people to man the walls. And they started digging for the Holy Lance pretty much immediately. I believe it was already widely believed that the Holy Lance would be found at that location, because this was, again, the oldest city in Christendom, or one of the first cities where where Christianity was established, where Christianity was widespread. I believe the claim to fame is that this was the first city where the term Christian was used. All right. Tom Griffin, was Firuz killed after Antioch was taken by the first Crusaders? Interesting. I don't think we know. All we hear about is his involvement in the capture of the city, and that's pretty much it, which is not uncommon. Medieval source material is notoriously laconic, I guess is the word. It's just, it doesn't tell us as much as we want to know. So yeah, we don't really know what happened to him. I wouldn't be surprised if he continued to be in Bohemond's service or continued to cooperate with the Crusaders in some way. I believe he was Armenian, and the Armenians were highly hooked in with the Crusaders. Colette says, "Thank you for your reply. I've just started to read about him." Oh, okay, great. Sheila, what's Sheila have to say here? Sheila says, "I watched a few episodes on Baldwin IV on the RCH YouTube channel, and have to say I got tear-jerked thinking about how difficult it must have been for him to accomplish all he did with leprosy." Yeah, I mean, I think, thanks for watching those, by the way. But yeah, I think that it is kind of amazing to think. I mean, you got to think about how tough it would have been to get out there and lead an army just when you're feeling very healthy, but your body is ravaged by leprosy, and yet you're still getting out there, and you are, you're marching to Kerak at the height of summer. I mean, it is amazing to think. He was obviously a heroic individual, and clearly his response to his great affliction was to fight through it and to not let it impede him. And that is that's pretty amazing, because I think it would have been very easy for him to just just lay in bed all the time, quite frankly. I mean, but he had the blood of some of the greatest warriors in history, in his veins. Okay. D says Baldwin continued to fight until he was 21. Yes, and he died. I believe he died before he hit 23. I know I give that date in the last video, but wow, I mean, that's just something to think about in itself. This was somebody who, between the age of 15 and his death in his very early 20s, I mean, the things he accomplished, the heroism he displayed, the top level leadership. I mean, there are not better examples of leadership in history than Baldwin IV. There just aren't. He was the ideal sort of king. He gave everything for the good of his kingdom, and ultimately for the Christians of the Holy Land, which is, again, something we kind of forget about when we're thinking about the Crusades. The well-being of not just the Franks living and traveling to the holy sites, but also to the local Christian populations who had so firmly allied themselves with the Crusaders, and their communities had begun to flourish as a result of the Crusader states. Again, something we don't think about. My friend Helena Schroeder points this out in her new book about the Crusader states. But these people, went from being kind of, a mostly abused and disenfranchised population, under Turkish rule, to being, well-to-do and having their own institutions, and being a part of the government, and being a part of the military establishment. I mean, it was a huge change for the local Christian groups, the Syrians, the Armenians in the Holy Land. And their well-being was the responsibility of the kings of Jerusalem too. So I'm sure that weighed on the thinking of, somebody like Baldwin IV. This is something we see. We get this more in the source material, than we do in a lot of the popular discussions about the Crusades. Like a lot of the chronicles and that sort of thing will kind of talk more about the Christian people, the fate of the Christian people, or the good of this was done for the good of the Christian people, and that's talking about the Eastern Christian groups who lived in the Holy Land as well. So Legionary says, ever plan on doing a video on Heraclius, the first crusader on the Byzantine Sassanid War? I would enjoy doing that. It might be a while before I get to that, just because there's so much other stuff I want to do. What I'm kind of thinking right now, guys, in terms of topics, I'm really planning on hitting more of. I think after I finish this Fourth Crusade video, I want to do something else about the Hungarians and the Mongols, just because that video has been such a successful video for the channel. The one I just did about the second Mongol invasion of Hungary, and also because I like the topic. But I want to do something about the Battle of Mahi, and I also want to do something about the Teutonic Knights and their interaction with the Mongols. So I'm going to kind of do a set of videos that kind of lean a little bit more into the Mongol thing, especially the interaction between the Mongols and the West. I also want to do something about how the Mongols destroyed the Khwarezmian Empire, which is a really interesting story. The Khwarezmians went from being one of the most successful powers in Islam to being absolutely crushed by the Mongols. And it's kind of an interesting story. So I want to do something about that. So probably like about 3 more videos or so that delve into some of that. Maybe something kind of about Poland and the Mongols. Like Xenix is saying, how about the first Mongol invasion of Hungary and Croatia? Exactly. I want to do something about 1241. And then, turn that. And then I've got some earlier stuff about the Mongols. So I'll kind of turn all of that into a big documentary. And then I really am wanting to do something a little bit more detailed about El Cid and his campaigns, so that I get a chance to kind of, with this new style, like do some of these animated maps with kind of looking at, what was going on with El Cid. So I think I'm going to definitely jump into that. And I'm kind of thinking too, you guys tell me what you're thinking in terms of some good topics, but I'm also thinking doing something about the fall of the Crusader states in the 1280s and 1290s, partly because I want to use some more of this Attila Total War with the Medieval Kingdoms mod, because I love the way that looks, and it's late 13th, or it's 13th century, so it's accurate to use those for that. And I love the way the Templars look in that, and the Mamluks look really great in that too. So I think that would be cool too. Yeah, and Xenix is saying El Cid video equals zillions of views. Yeah, that's true. El Cid does tend to do well. So I am, I'm thinking I need to do some more on El Cid pretty soon. Okay, let's get some more questions here. Tony says, sorry for being late. That's fine, Tony. There's no rule about what time you have to jump in here. And Nalu is here. Hello, my apologies for my profile picture. I'll be honest, I don't know who that is. Looks like a distinguished old gentleman. Let's see. Chris, I got plenty like the Kingdom of Georgia. Okay. R&D, thoughts on the siege of Marienburg? Was that a Teutonic Knights thing? Remind me what that was. I believe Marienburg was one of the Prussian fortresses that the Teutonic Knights controlled, named for the Mother of God. Oh, Chris is telling me that's Tolkien. Okay, now I get it. Chris, has anyone ever concluded as to why King Philip left the Third Crusade? Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. He wasn't interested in the Crusades, and he also wanted to get back to France before Richard did. And he knew that this was probably his only opportunity to be there without Richard around and to start undermining the Angevin Empire. So, yeah. Here's a little smirk from Nalu. R&D, yes. In 1410, some of the people defending were at Grunwald. Okay. Yeah, that is something I would like to do more on the Teutonic Knights. Not to pick pick these topics just because of that Attila Total War mod, but God, the Teutonic Knights look great in that too. I mean, I'm tempted to do more on the Teutonic Knights just because of that. Lambert says, I would enjoy a profile on Godfrey Bouillon and his brother, who was fascinating. Yeah, I agree with that. I did a video about Godfrey Bouillon called Godfrey Bouillon History's Greatest Knight, which you could check out in the meantime. It's kind of the older style, but I know some people still like the earlier style, which is mainly just artwork based. Martin, I'd like to see some videos about kingdoms of Georgia and Armenia. Now that Chris mentioned it, yes, that would be good. Although I do feel like that would be tough to get good source material for, especially Georgia. I've actually tried to get some good scholarly books about medieval Georgia, and it's tough. Most of it is not in English, which is too bad. And Nalu says, by the way, thank you for that video of St. Fernando. It's cool to see my history on an international channel without any political filter. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that, Nalu. I've always loved Fernando III. I think he's pretty interesting. Obviously, a really outstanding king. And that's great that you are from Spain. That is a place I hope to visit very soon. Time and budget affording, which, at the moment they probably don't. But yeah. R&D. Yeah, late tier units for the Teutonic Order and the 1212 AD mod look great. Yeah, the Teutonic Order is one of the best looking of units in that mod. It's the Teutonic Knights just had a great aesthetic anyway. I mean, let's be honest. Of all the military orders, they probably had kind of some of the best looks. I mean, not that should be what really influences us in terms of our evaluation of these different historical topics, but yeah, I think everybody loves the way the Teutonic Knights look. And Chris says, how about videos on Poland's role in the Crusades? Yeah, I definitely want to do something about Poland and the Mongols in particular in this next set of videos. I want to do about let's kind of have some Mongol topics in there. I've been kind of on a binge reading books about the Mongols lately. So, all right, guys, well, I guess we'll kind of do a few more questions here. Let's see here. Make sure I'm not missing any power chats. Okay. All right. So, let me jump back up to the top of the feed here, see what else you guys have to say. And then we'll jump off and I'll get back to working on this new video. Let's see here. All right. Oh, Alexander's asking about James I of Aragon. Did James I of Aragon force the Muslim population to leave the areas he conquered? As far as I know, he never did. I believe all of his campaigns, he allowed the Muslims to remain. Like, I know they remained in Valencia. And this was kind of a tough thing for the Aragonese. I believe there were a couple of uprisings later on. But, I don't remember what he did with the Balearic Islands, which that was his first crusade. He conquered the Balearic Islands from its Muslim rulers, or from their Muslim rulers. So we'll get a couple more questions here. Tom, did Ireland participate in the Crusades? I think so. Of course, that may have been in the form of Normans who were lords in Ireland going off on crusade. Lori, did Bowman of Antioch regret not fighting in the siege of Jerusalem? I don't think so. I doubt it. It's kind of interesting. That did not affect his reputation at all, which part of that may have been that he was such a good PR guy, but I think just his general heroism. I mean, he won the battles of Dorylaeum. Well, not that one alone, but he didn't win any of his battles alone. The other crusading leaders helped, but he was a key figure in the victory at Dorylaeum. He was a key figure in the Battle of Antioch. I think he was just kind of such a terminator that it was impossible that could even remotely dim his reputation. I think everybody felt that he really did by holding Antioch. That was really helpful to the Crusades in general. Joseph here says, would you like to do the Second Crusade lecture series? Yes, I do want to do that. There's so much to do in so little time. But yeah, I do want to do that. That would be a really cool topic. I find the Second Crusade really fascinating. I know it's not as exciting as the First or Third Crusades, but it's really interesting. Sam, I'd be interested in seeing you take on the 1389 Battle of Kosovo. Underrated battle with participation from a couple of crusading orders. Yeah, that's been kind of floating around in my head a lot too. I do want to hit that one. That's a great topic, and also we get some great looking stuff from the 1212 mod for that one too. So, but yeah, that is a good one. Maybe I should do that next. Man, that's always the toughest one is deciding which video to do next. Let's see, one or two more questions here, and then we'll probably wrap it up for today. Lambert, was Raymond IV the greatest lag on the Crusader march to Jerusalem after Antioch, or did Bowman have greater role in their delay? Interesting. I think the main reason they waited, honestly, was because everybody was so exhausted after the conquest of Antioch, which was such a tough thing. But yeah, that dispute definitely contributed to it. I guess we could say that Raymond was the biggest delay just because he was the only one who disagreed with letting Bowman have Antioch. I mean, we could say there's a lot of people who hold that up as the sign of his integrity. But yeah, everybody was kind of saying, yeah, that's fine. Take Antioch, go ahead. Raymond really didn't want that to happen, and he was quite wealthy and quite influential. So maybe. Lori says, since the anniversary of the Battle of Vienna is coming up, would you be willing to make a documentary about the battle? Yeah, I wanted to do something more involved about that one, like with maps and everything and animations. I do have a very old video about that. That's one of the first videos I ever made, is I did something about Vienna, probably like in 2016 or something like this. Oops, hit mute there for a minute. Let's see when that video was made. Let's see, Vienna, 1683. Maybe was it under Battle of Vienna? Yeah, 7 years ago. Wow. Yeah, from 2015, May 31st, 2015. I did a video about the Battle of Vienna. That's a long time ago, back when the channel was very, very young. So yeah. Oh, this is a good idea from Chris. The first siege of Vienna. Yes, that would be a good one. That would be a good one too. Okay, guys. I think that's probably good for today. A lot of fun as ever. I will be back on Friday and we'll do this again. And for now, I'm going to get back to work and keep hammering out this Fourth Crusade video. So talk to you guys soon. Hope everybody has a good rest of their Tuesday. Don't forget to check out knightsofthecross.com. And we will be back on Friday.